10. William Hale and Frank Allison. Two Florida dads came out on the losing end of a road rage incident gone wrong in October 2022 when they were both hit with criminal charges, including attempted murder. According to news reports, 43-year-old Frank Allison and 35-year-old William Hale became entangled in a conflict that spanned several miles and 2 countries. For law enforcement, the ordeal began shortly after 6:00 p.m. when 911 dispatchers began receiving reports about people being shot at. One witness described seeing vehicles matching the descriptions of the suspects Dodge Ram and Nissan Murano driving so dangerously in a cat and mouse game that he thought something bad was going to happen. And unfortunately, his prediction proved correct when the two men opened fire on one another from inside their vehicles. Even more disturbingly, both of their daughters were injured in the altercation, but thankfully nobody died. Both Hale and Allison were charged with attempted murder, but the case against Allison was dropped after prosecutors concluded that he'd acted in self-defense when he fired the first shot. According to the state, Hale tried running Allison off the road, and Allison's decision to resort to gunfire therefore constituted a justifiable use of force under Florida's Stand Your Ground law. Prosecutors chose to pursue the charge against Hale, who pleaded not guilty. The outcome of the case is unclear, and it's likely ongoing. 9. Michael Barbella and Michael John Duffy. On what began as a typical summer evening in mid-2015, sheriff's deputies in Wycomico County, Maryland, were called to the scene of an altercation between two softball dads from New Jersey that had escalated to physical blows. According to reports, law enforcement arrived to find 48-year-old Michael Barbella of Ventnor being treated by paramedics. Barbella and 45-year-old Michael John Duffy of Mays Landing had allegedly gotten into a fistfight which started when Barbella shoved Duffy, then threw the first punch and missed. Duffy shoved back, and Barbella took another swing, at which point the scuffle broke out full force. The altercation reportedly ended with Duffy on top of Barbella, repeatedly punching his adversary in the face. According to police, Barbella had driven from New Jersey to Maryland specifically to confront Duffy and other softball parents from a travel team. Court documents stated that his daughter had already been kicked off the team due to issues revolving around her father's behavior, and that she wasn't present at the time of the fight. The brawl occurred inside a convention center where over 1,000 spectators had gathered to watch a game. Both men were charged with second-degree assault, affray, and disorderly conduct. 2 months after the incident, they were each convicted of disorderly conduct and were sentenced to a year of probation. They were both fined $100. 8. Anthony Nardini. In early 2023, a 42-year-old California man named Anthony Nardini was accused of trying to kill his 24-year-old son in an unhinged sledgehammer attack near Simi Valley. According to the VC Star, the victim was asleep at a relative's home, where both he and Nardini were staying. The pair had recently reconnected, but their attempt to bond apparently turned into an argument, which then escalated into a physical brawl. Family members broke up the fistfight and Nardini left in his truck, only to return a short while later while his son was sleeping on the sofa. He allegedly told everyone else in the house to go to bed, then proceeded to bludgeon the victim with a 10-pound, 4.5-kilogram, 3-foot-long, 1-meter sledgehammer once the two were alone. When the relatives who were asked to leave heard the victim being struck, they rushed back inside. But by the time they responded to the situation, the damage had been done and Nardini had fled out the back door. Responding officers found the blood-covered sledgehammer outside the residence, and in the meantime, Nardini's son was hospitalized for 10 days. He spent part of his hospital stay in a medically induced coma with severe head and torso trauma. Nardini already had an extensive criminal history before the attack, and the authorities were happy to charge him with a laundry list of crimes in connection with his most recent incident. He was ultimately convicted of attempted murder, aggravated mayhem, and assault with a deadly weapon, and was sentenced to life in prison with a possibility of parole starting in September of 2029. 7. Jose Pilar. In April 2023, a 54-year-old father from Kansas City, Missouri, named Jose Pilar, was arrested for allegedly fatally shooting his adult son. According to Jackson County prosecutors, police responded to a reported shooting sometime between 6 and 8 p.m. on the day in question. They arrived to find evidence that a shooting had indeed taken place inside the residence, but by then, the victim, 21-year-old Raul Pilar Sanchez, had been driven to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead from his injuries. When the story initially broke, law enforcement said that they'd identified a person of interest, but no arrests were immediately made. Over a week later, though, authorities announced Pilar's arrest on suspicion of second-degree murder and armed criminal action. Witnesses reportedly told investigators that Pilar and Sanchez were arguing over a family friend coming to visit, according to local station Fox 4 KC. At least one person claimed to have seen part of the actual shooting, while others said that they heard Pilar loading the gun that was used in the crime. The person who reported witnessing the suspect take the first shot said that he ran and heard subsequent gunshots as he fled the scene on foot. He also said that he heard Pilar threatening to shoot himself, but he apparently never followed through with his word, and by the time police arrived at the scene, the suspect had fled. As of January 2024, Pilar remains behind bars while awaiting the resolution of his case. 6. Patrick Piddock. Baby mama drama is undoubtedly stressful, but an Ohio dad named Patrick Piddock ended his relationship with the mother of his youngest child in the worst possible way in October 2012, when he fatally shot his girlfriend Suzanne Mickey Brown in her new Lexington apartment. Piddock quickly fell to the top of the suspect list and was soon indicted on 2 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and 2 counts of felonious assault. In July of 2013, he took a deal and pleaded guilty to murder with a firearm in exchange for a sentence of 18 years to life in prison. The details about the murder that were released to the public were limited until 2023, when the case was featured on an episode of the ID Channel series, Evil Lives Here, The Killer Speaks. The producers interviewed Piddock and his daughter from a previous relationship, Fawn, during the show, which is titled, "I Always Knew I Could Kill." Portrayed in the episode as volatile and short-tempered, Piddock was allegedly warned by the people in his life that he needed to get his rage under control before something terrible happened. He even admitted that he spent his entire life plagued by an uncontrollable anger that completely takes over when it sets in. And once it sets in, it's too late to stop it. During his interview with Evil Lives Here, Piddock blamed his anger issues on his violent upbringing, which left him struggling with lifelong post-traumatic stress disorder. He admitted to committing disturbing acts of aggression against various people before he ended up killing, after discovering during his childhood that severely injuring people gave him a sense of power. In one instance, he used a sledgehammer to dislodge the eyeball of a man who tried robbing him, taking self-defense to an excessive and unnecessary level. Fawn claimed that her father was both abusive and prone to blackout tantrums, and it got so bad that when she was 12 or 13, her mother left Piddock for good. After divorcing Fawn's mother, Piddock began dating Susan Brown, who was 13 years younger than himself. And at 39 years old, Brown became pregnant. Sadly though, Piddock murdered her shortly after their child was born. During his interview with Evil Lives Here, he recalled being high on drugs when he visited Suzanne at her apartment that fateful day. he claimed that Suzanne said that she no longer wanted their child and that he shot her in order to protect the baby. It's an arguably doubtful narrative, but that's his story and he's sticking to it. Paddock's truthfulness has also been called into question regarding his claims of remorse over his deadly actions. 5. Sherman Shirley Frick Sr. 68-year-old Sherman Shirley Frick Sr. and his son, 27-year-old Sherman Palmer Fricks Jr., had a troubled history of conflict that they were never able to solve, despite police being called to their Deer Park, Texas home on numerous occasions. Their contentious relationship reached its breaking point in June of 2019, when the pair visited an electronics store together after the younger Fricks' phone broke. During the drive, Sherman Jr. allegedly began kicking the back of the front passenger seat where Sherman Sr.'s girlfriend was sitting. And the next day, Sherman Sr. allegedly stabbed his son to death. Prosecutors accused the elder Fricks of planning to shoot Sherman Jr. in the back the day after the shopping trip tantrum. According to the state, Sherman Sr. was sick of his son's attitude amid their increasingly strained relationship, and at his wit's end, he waited with a gun in hand for Sherman Jr. to return home for lunch the next afternoon. Sherman Sr. told law enforcement that Sherman Jr. responded with a smart remark when asked what he'd ordered for lunch, at which point he unloaded the handgun into his son's body. Sherman Jr. survived the onslaught of bullets, prompting his father to spend the next 20 minutes giving him a father-son talk before stabbing him to death with a kitchen knife. Emergency responders did everything in their power to try to save Sherman Jr.'s life, but he died from his injuries after being rushed to the hospital. Sherman Sr. was arrested on suspicion of murder, which can carry a sentence of up to life in prison if convicted. But for now, the outcome of the case is unclear. 4. Daryl Gene Evans. A disagreement over money took a deadly turn one afternoon in August 2022 when 61-year-old Daryl Gene Evans allegedly shot and killed his 37-year-old son, Richard Evans, at their home in Lewisburg, Kentucky. Daryl allegedly told law enforcement that the deadly argument broke out in the family's yard when Richard arrived at the residence. The elder Evans was reportedly angry at his son for failing to repay a loan he owed to his father. Daryl claimed that Richard clenched his fists and acted in a threatening manner, then followed him inside the house. According to the version of events relayed to the Logan County Sheriff's Office, Richard warned his father not to retrieve his gun from the love seat, where he kept it stashed in case the need for protection arose. But Daryl apparently ignored the warning and grabbed the pistol anyway, then fired a single fatal shot into his son's face and head area. In the words of the arrest report, Daryl said that it was obvious his son was dead, so he exited the house and dialed 911. As a result, he was charged with first-degree murder and was detained at the Logan County Detention Center on a $1 million bond. As of November 2023, Daryl was petitioning the court to dismiss the charges against him on the basis of self-defense. The argument came after he underwent a psychiatric evaluation and was found competent to stand trial. And while the current status of the case is unclear, records show that Evans isn't currently in local or state custody. 3. David Contreras. In early November 2023, 911 dispatchers in southwest Miami-Dade, Florida, received an emergency call from 52-year-old David Contreras, who allegedly shot and killed his adult son. According to police, the suspect admitted to shooting the victim, Eric Contreras, who was in his late 20s at the time. Emergency responders reportedly arrived at the residence at around 2 p.m. to find the victim dead outside the front door. The area surrounding the house was blocked off well into the night as detectives worked to get to the bottom of what had happened. Neighborhood resident Jamie Stramondo told local station WSVN that it was scary for something like this to happen in the area, which is typically quiet and has a low violent crime rate. Another community member, Jacob Billings, described feeling speechless when he learned of the incident. The news outlet reported that it was unclear whether there's a history of law enforcement being called to the home. As of January 2021, the elder Contreras remains held without bond while awaiting the next steps in his case. 2. Darius Richardson. While responding to reports of a possible shooting during the pre-dawn hours one October morning in 2017, police in Montgomery, Alabama discovered 22-year-old Darius Snow suffering from stab wounds. He died from his injuries, and responding officers arrested his father, 47-year-old Darius Richardson, on suspicion of murder, with authorities revealing little more than the fact that a fight between two relatives escalated into violence inside the family home. Subsequent reports revealed that Darius stabbed his son in the chest with a kitchen knife at around 3:15 a.m. at their apartment. The victim was then rushed to a nearby hospital where he succumbed to his wounds. Nearly 2 years after the stabbing, in July of 2019, a grand jury dismissed the murder charge against Richardson and instead opted to indict him on a reduced manslaughter charge. The indictment stated that the suspect acted in a sudden heat of passion caused by provocation recognized by law, and before a reasonable time for the passion to cool and for reason to reassert itself. It's a fancy way of saying that Richardson lost all self-control in a sudden rage and therefore acted irrationally and without having planned the act ahead of time. Records now show that he was convicted of the manslaughter charge and is currently serving a 20-year sentence in state prison. And now for number 1. But if you want to hear more bizarre and crazy stories, stay tuned after the video for some more content. 1. Ulo Uriarte. On an otherwise typical Friday morning in May of 2023, 911 dispatchers in Apple Valley, California, received an emergency call about a father who allegedly stabbed his 25-year-old son along a local riverbank. Responding deputies found the victim suffering from a puncture wound and a head laceration. They were told that the suspect, 49-year-old Ulo Uriarte, had also forced his wife into a vehicle at their residence before driving to the crime scene. The suspect was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder and kidnapping. Uriarte's bail was set at $90,000, and records show that he's not currently in custody. For now, the circumstances surrounding the case remain unclear, and it's understandably difficult to understand what could possibly push a father to the point of killing his own son, especially in such a seemingly cold and calculated way.
10. Boat scam. In a fraud case, Mumbai cyber cell arrested Ragini Khandelwal, 52, and Mansi, a mother-daughter duo from India, on March 12, 2021. They reportedly scammed an Andheri businessman and embezzled approximately $12.5 million. The offer they made was to build a tugboat and a barge vessel during the lockdown. The duo promised the businessman $20,000 every month after helping him out with clients by renting out the vessels. Sushant Shelatkar, the 39-year-old businessman who works in the shipping and logistics industry, filed a complaint in October 2020 when he discovered that the accused had scammed other high-profile individuals, including a politician from Mumbai and Thane, by showing them the identical hull. Upon learning about the arrest warrants, Mansi fled to the United Kingdom before flying to Dubai and landing in Mumbai on January 1, 2021. Padma, Sushant's wife, also his lawyer, said that the duo had scammed her husband. The pair have scammed several other people for over $18 million after they illegally sold the same hull to these people. Mansi tried to escape by leaving the country, but they arrested her for violating the local quarantine laws. In the complaint, Sushant said he was looking for a tugboat and barge after applying for his company on June 18, 2020. He inquired about it on an online trading website. 2 days later, he received a call from Amir Khan, who further connected him with Ragini, a vessel maker in Kalyan. 9. Illegal activity. The police arrested a mother and daughter duo named Ramona Ramuta, 42, and Daniela Sinanan, 24, from the USA on prostitution charges on August 6, 2013. According to a police report, the two women advertised on Backpage.com's adult escort section. The post reportedly stated that Jasmine and Angel were waiting in Boynton Beach to rock your world with 2-for-1 discounts. Officers said neighbors saw many suspected Johns enter and leave the mother and daughter residence throughout the inquiry. Officers stopped a suspected John when he left the apartment in July of the same year. The police said that the individual admitted to the officers that he paid $100 for sex with Ramona and Daniela. According to the police report, on July 24th, an undercover officer called the contact number advertised on Backpage.com and set up a meeting with Jasmine and Angel the next day. The undercover cop went to the mother-daughter flat on July 25th and they offered him the 2-for-1 deal for $150. The officer handed Ramona $100 and told him he needed to return to his car to recover the remaining $50. Officers then entered the residence and took them into custody. They gave the duo bail after a warning. After a few weeks, the police received many complaints about the duo going back to their old ways. They arrested them once again under the same charge. 8. Exotic Parlor. Police arrested Anne-Marie Dodge, 55, and her daughter Jennifer Lynn Dodge, 30, in August 2017 for operating an unauthorized sexual massage parlor out of their suburban home's carport. These two women posted an ad on Backpage.com. According to investigators, one of Anne's advertisements stated, "I am a beautiful, skilled, and licensed massage therapist that God has chosen to use to convey his healing energy to you and elevate you to a new level of bliss. I specialize in deep tissue, therapeutic, and energy massage." The police separately detained Jennifer Dodge the next day after they said she provided an undercover sexual favor for $200 rather than the $120 cost of a normal massage. In a live press conference, Officer Jessica Sullivan of the Sarasota Police Department said, "There was a carport on the right side of the property, and it almost seemed like they enclosed part of the porch, and that's where the massage and prostitution were taking place." The neighbors reported seeing 5 to 10 cars every day, with most of them being older white guys. Anne faced 2 felony counts of practicing medicine without a license and 2 misdemeanor counts of running a massage business without permission. They charged Jennifer Dodge with prostitution, and this wasn't her first one. According to court records, she already had 3 past prostitution offenses. 7. Homecoming Scandal. Police arrested Laura Carroll, a former Florida assistant principal, and Emily Grover, her daughter, in 2021 for casting fake votes to help Emily win the homecoming. The duo denied the allegation in Good Morning America. In October 2020, they crowned Emily the homecoming queen at J.M. Tate High School, but a few months later, they arrested both the mother and daughter, and they faced multiple felony charges because of acquiring fake votes. According to officials, Carroll entered the school district's internal system while working as an assistant principal at nearby Bellevue Elementary School to submit false votes for her daughter to win. As the news release stated, they detected hundreds of votes for the school's homecoming court as fake in October. The investigation found 117 votes from the same IP address in a short amount of time. Investigators discovered indications of illegal access to the system connected to Carroll's smartphone and computers at her house. They cast 246 votes from those devices for homecoming court. According to investigators, Carroll's account viewed 372 high school data since August 2019, with 339 of those being Tate students. These documents contain personal information, such as medical histories and test results. They gave Laura and Emily 16 years in prison. In an interview with ABC, Laura stated she was shocked at how scores of fake votes were linked to her phone and her family's residence. 6. Fake doctor. Libby Adam, 51, and Alicia Galas, 23, were both arrested on August 5, 2021 for an illegal butt implant surgery, which resulted in the death of 22-year-old Carissa Rajpal, an aspiring social media star. The couple, according to investigators, had been conducting cosmetic surgeries for years and were recruiting patients via Instagram. These things are done by people who have no training, no standards, and no contingency plan in case something goes wrong, said LAPD detective Robert Dinlocker. According to police, on October 15, 2019, both ladies allegedly conducted an outlaw buttocks enlargement surgery on Carissa Rajpal. According to investigators, neither lady had a medical license, and they did the treatment in a non-medical institution. The LAPD officers said that the ladies' technique involved injecting an uncontained, liquid silicone material into the body, which may enter the bloodstream and cause an embolism. Silicone should not be injected into the buttocks or breast, said Dr. John Timothy Kanson, a cosmetic surgeon. The two women had performed the surgery on Carissa for the third time. According to the LAPD, Libby and Alicia phoned 911 to assist Carissa, but then fled the scene without identifying themselves or informing the paramedics what had happened so they could treat her properly. She died in the emergency room, and physicians did not know the duo had given her a silicone injection. According to investigators, the accused have been providing these treatments out of their homes since 2012 and charge approximately $14,000 for 3 sessions. Other clients have reportedly called the police to claim they're experiencing various issues because of the surgery. 5. Not Victoria's Secret. The police accuse Maria Corina Perez, 38, and her daughter Melissa Susana Partida, 19, from Los Angeles, California, of stealing thousands of dollars in products from Victoria's Secret stores during a 2-year period. According to police records, both the mother and daughter duo allegedly used a well-practiced strategy to steal almost $250,000 worth of products from a renowned lingerie retailer. The investigation began when police claimed that a string of 5 thefts occurred at the retailer's locations in Oxnard and Thousand Oaks over 4 months, resulting in a loss of roughly $15,000 in goods. Each time, the procedure was the same. 3 people, 2 ladies and a female teenager, would enter a store with a baby stroller and load it with stuff. Then, one person would divert attention away from the salesperson as the other 2 pushed the stroller out of the store. After examining surveillance footage and other evidence with Victoria's Secret loss prevention, police could identify and locate the culprits. The 3 also traveled to the Bay Area, where they committed a series of thefts from Victoria's Secret stores using the same tactics, according to Thousand Oaks cops. According to the business, they suspect the team of stealing $250,000 from the merchant stores. They took all 3 into custody and charged them with commercial burglary. They also charged Melissa with 2 counts of assisting a juvenile in delinquency. 4. The wrong target. On February 6, 2017, Xiomara Quintanilla, 45, and Jennifer Quintanilla, 17, police arrested a mother-daughter duo in Houston after they charged them with assaulting a loss prevention officer and stealing from Target. According to a security video obtained by Harris County Precinct 4, the video showed them putting stuff in a shopping cart and exiting Target without paying for them. Before they exited the store, a loss prevention officer attempted to stop them. They detained the girl without incident. However, as the daughter was being arrested, the mother reportedly began throwing stuff from the basket at the loss prevention workers. According to authorities, the mother then allegedly approached one of the shop cops and smacked her in the face. The mother ran to her parked car, but deputies stopped her in the parking lot before she could escape. On January 1, 2022, another incident of assault and theft happened in North Las Vegas, where the mother-daughter, Ulo Uriarte and Latoya Walker, barged into the victim's house and tried to change the locks. The duo pushed the victim and went into the house when asked to leave many times. The victim stated Lenora began pulling her hair, scratching her, and punching her in the face before the ladies escaped with a safe and further belongings. Lenora also entered a room and removed a dresser drawer containing 3 old wallets, but the wallets were empty, according to authorities. A third suspect assisted the 2 ladies in changing the locks, which Lenora later said was a locksmith. 3. Crazy and thoughtless duo. Deputies arrested Rachel Dungan, 38, and Lillian Shoemaker, 20, in 2019 in the USA for shooting Lillian's boyfriend multiple times. Deputies learned the victim was at home with Lillian when Rachel arrived. According to investigators, he stated that they all left the residence, with him following the two ladies in his vehicle. According to Sheriff Mike Azell, Rachel was driving the vehicle carrying Lillian, and Lillian began shooting at the man. After being shot, the victim returned home and dialed 911 for help. The deputies discovered him with several gunshot wounds when they arrived at the residence on Highway 63. They sent him to hospital for treatment of non-life-threatening wounds. U.S. Marshals apprehended the mother-daughter duo on August 18, 2019 in Mobile County, Alabama. Both of them faced charges of severe assault. On February 25, 2019, in the US, police arrested Shana Decree and her husband Dominique Decree for murdering 5 of their relatives, including 3 children. The duo killed Shana Decree's children, Nara Smith, 25, Damon Decree Jr., 13, Shana Decree's sister, Jamila Campbell, 42, and Campbell's 9-year-old twin daughters, Imani and Erica Allen. Around 4 p.m. on February 25th, Bucks County Children and Youth staff paid an unannounced visit to the Morrisville apartment, which led to the discovery of the crime scene. The caseworker instructed an apartment complex maintenance worker to look inside when no one answered the door. When the worker entered the flat, he found it in utter chaos. The duo denied it at first and said that 2 unknown men killed the victims, but later confessed with a new, twisted story. 2. Money Heist. Police arrested Norma Edwina Cisneros and Tina Guerrero for robbing a bank in Westminster on October 11, 2011. After scaring tellers with a bomb, the mother and daughter duo reportedly robbed the bank. The mother informed 9 News that she had no clue that her daughter had walked into the bank. She told the news station, "All this time she was looting a bank, and I didn't know." According to Trevor Matarasso, a spokesperson for the Westminster Police Department, officers were called to the TCF Bank at 72nd Avenue and Federal Boulevard on a hold-up alert at 4:40 p.m. on October 11, 2011. According to witnesses, Tina, 31, saw them entering the bank with a duffel bag and claiming there was a bomb inside. They saw no additional weapon, according to witnesses. Tina reportedly stole an undisclosed sum of money before sprinting out of the bank to a parked beige SUV driven by her mother, Norma, 53. An undercover cop saw the SUV leaving the bank, who was in the vicinity for another investigation. According to Matarasso, the cop gave other officers a description of the SUV. They discovered the SUV and stopped it around 75th Avenue and Broadway. They apprehended Norma on the spot. However, Tina fled from the vehicle, but they discovered her later hiding in a neighboring apartment complex's laundry closet. They apprehended her without incident. On October 14, 2011, prosecutors charged Norma and Tina with robbery. 1. Credit card theft. Police arrested and apprehended Barbara Duncan, 53, and Amber Morgan, 28, a mother-daughter duo, in relation to mail thefts in 25 Indiana counties. They discovered the two in a motel in Seymour, Indiana, with many bundles of mail, including anything from identification cards to bank letters to credit cards and more. For months, police from Winnemac to Evansville had been receiving reports of mail theft. One resident could describe a vehicle that was subsequently discovered abandoned. They found a hotel bill inside that led them to the culprits. They'd stolen the car. Benjamin Turner, a theft victim, claimed he discovered his car's tag was missing when he woke up. "I assumed maybe I dropped it or it fell off the back of my car," Turner stated. But when I questioned my father later, he said it was definitely stolen and I needed to report it. On Friday, they discovered Turner's tag on a similar automobile trapped in the snow among multiple mailboxes on County Road 340. Officers claim the couple had a laptop and were attempting to access bank accounts using information from the letter. They already had several credit cards in their possession that they were utilizing to make transactions. According to one victim, one of the ladies ripped up mail and then threw an empty envelope and other objects from her car as she drove away. Sheriff Michael Carruthers of Jackson County even discovered his brother's stolen letter among the evidence gathered.
Do you think there's ever a situation where it makes sense for a father to seriously injure or kill his adult son? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.